build connections along the way while just knowing that myself is all I have at the end of the day, and that's more than enough.
Yeah, wow. That's so, again, so beautifully said. And as you were speaking, it like also brought me to what we had talked about recently, where it's interesting, like I had mentioned, I was married, and we tend to have this like um and again, there's no wrong or right way to live. The way I just look at it is like there's it's only your way. And
Mm.
so when I was married, as a child, like I never wanted to get married, and I was always questioning that. But again, like I like to say, like I try things on because I'm like, how do I truly know unless I actually experience it? So, yeah, I did get married, and I quickly realized like this doesn't feel right. Like this isn't for me, and that's okay. I think we get so hard on ourselves. People hear divorce and they're just like, "Oh, that's bad. That's scary." Like, shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have gotten to that relationship. And I look at it as like I am so glad and proud of myself for going through that, because it wasn't easy, and I got to experience it, and now I know going forward what I want, and that's the most I can possibly ask for in this life. And so now it's like as I move through life, I kind of like what I was saying before, where these connections that I have with people, it's like um why is it that I was always choosing to commit to just one person? If I'm going to be really traveling, like, why don't I commit to myself and have
Mm.
a relationship with myself first and foremost? Um, and as I move through life, then I'm connecting and, deeply connecting with different people, and that's okay too. And that's brought me to live in, I feel like I used to have this like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like almost like sneaky energy, like kind of like not communicating myself to people fully, and just kind of like sidestepping it and like kind of getting my way by just, going underneath the radar. And by being more open in my relationships, there's no other way than to be communicative about where you're at and how you're moving through life. So it's like if I want to be deeply connected to multiple different people, then I need to be upfront and honest and communicate
Mm.
that to each person. Um, and and that's brought me into this like next just level of myself. It feels like instead of holding back, it's like, all right, I get to step up and communicate like who I really am in this moment. And that's
Mm.
felt really good and really powerful, instead of
Mm.
just feeling like obligated to only be with one person, because I have a connection with that person and I can't be with anyone else. It's like feels so restricting to me. And then
Mm.
I get, like I said, I get that sneaky energy, and I just want to get out of that. And it's like a pattern. So my way around that is communication and honesty.
Mm. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's so much to learn from every relationship, and there's such a spectrum is what I've been learning lately, is how much of a spectrum of relationships there are. And I think that it's so beautiful how your experience of your divorce is just so powerful, so beautiful, and just there's no regrets there. There's no negative energy. And it's just purely you're able to see it as a growth opportunity. And that's really all anything is at the end of the day, is anything that,
Mm,
no good or bad, but anything that, quote unquote goes wrong or doesn't work out is a learning opportunity. And does that really mean it went wrong, or it just means that it taught you what you needed to and it's no longer in alignment, and then you're able to powerfully choose out, powerfully move on, like as you would say. I love the way that you're able to add the word powerfully, just sidebar, to like when you make a decision and you add powerfully before that. I noticed that when you do that. And it's
Mm,
I started doing it because you started doing it. And there's just it's so
mm,
true when you're just really intentional with the choices that you're making. And then no choice is a bad choice. It's all the right decision at the end of the day.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I love the way that you're able to like yeah listen to what I'm saying and then reflect it back to me and I feel like I learn something new each time you're speaking as well. Like it's just this like beautiful like give and receive that I'm like wow like we're
I
all just
love it.
learning from each other all the time.
Oh yeah. Oh totally. I love it. It's such a beautiful energy just to pass back and forth and like where's it gonna go next? But I love the topic of relationships right now because that's something we've been talking about recently. And I think that you and I have both really just discovered a lot about ourselves and like that relationship with ourselves. We've both kind of just stepped into this powerful uh full self-acceptance for one, like just full self-love and just being stepping into who we truly are, and that comes out in ways that just radiates from us. And then we attract people into our lives who now mirror that energy, like just looking back at who you have attracted before you've stepped into this really powerful version of yourself, how that used to look like, and now how it looks
Mm,
like now with the people you're attracting. It's like night and day, right?
hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And it and that's for everyone, that's like that's a really good reflection question to look back on your life like 5 years ago and even just look at your relationships of like who was I with like I as you go through life I feel like I can clearly see like eras of my life. It's like, I had high school friends, elementary friends, college friends, and then, you can look at it in like relationships, with different people at different times, and you can just see yourself in all of them. And like that's who I was at that time. And it's like, you know, as you're starting to really listen to yourself and move through life in alignment with you, that just keeps happening. And you start to really, you're always connecting with who is meant for you at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I feel like that connection of what we were talking about too, like with like, everyone is our family because it's like I'm always just it's always just beautifully connected with whoever I'm meant to be with at that time. And I always get exactly what I need, and it's like a give and receive type of relationship. Um, so yeah, it feels good to live in that.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, it really does. And can you tell us more about how you're powerfully choosing yourself over this next period of time? Do you have anything more to elaborate on that?
Mm. Yeah. So powerfully choosing myself, to me right now, I'm also, so as I move through relationships, um, the relationship with myself first and foremost means I get to, I get to choose. I get to create my life.
Mm.
It's not up to anyone else. It's up to me.
Hmm.
And if that's the case, then what does that look like? And in terms of relationships right now, it's like kind of what I was saying before. I want to be completely free. that is like that is a core value of mine. And I know if I'm with one person and I feel like I have to commit to them and only be with them, that is constricting to me, and that's out of alignment with who I am automatically, at least for
Mm-hmm.
right now. And so as I'm starting to move through life, a powerful choice that I'm setting for the next year is that I would like to be celibate, and celibate, not in the way of like completely um, restricting myself from any sort of like pleasurable experience with another person. But I would say like more so not any sort of like penetration.
Mm-hmm.
And more of like a feeling of like I can still play and I can still be with people, but that's like a powerful choice for me because it's like how deep can I go within myself first as I'm navigating being with all of these other people, and then also, and that's the choice that like feels like that's for me. That's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's the decision that I'm like, this is my relationship with myself and I'm choosing this. And then it's like how deep can I really go with each person, so that without this on the table, when it's completely taken off the table, um, of like not having any sort of physical sex with someone, um, how deep can you go with that person? Because a lot of times it's like things kind of can just go way too fast, and then you find yourself in this situation where you're like, okay, I did this, but like I don't think I really actually wanted this. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so I feel like this is like a time for me to allow myself um, that reflection and that pause, so that a year from now I can look back and be like, wow, who do I really resonate with? And out of these
Mm-hmm.
people that I've deeply connected with, do I want to continue to move forward in this way of, you know, traveling and connecting with people, multiple people, or do I want to be with one person at this point? Did anyone stand out to me in that time that like I feel such a deep connection with that like I don't want to be with anyone else? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I think like that's been a big thing for me. Like there's never been one person in my life where I'm like, this is the person. Like it's always been like um a beautiful friendship and beautiful connection to start that has grown into something more beautiful. But yeah, I've never had that like this is it. So it's like allowing myself to finally live in that and experience that instead of um forcing myself to be one way in one relationship with one person.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, that's such a powerful choice, and it's so different. It's so out of the ordinary. Like I haven't heard of anybody that I know doing this actually. And so I was so intrigued when you were telling me about this. And it just feels like such a powerful decision in that you're taking away some of we were talking about this before, like some of the blinders that can kind of get in your way when you're making these decisions. uh Sex makes a huge difference in the way your mental state is, and it's like being drunk, or it's like anything. It can make a huge difference in how you perceive somebody else and how they perceive you as well. So
Mm,
it makes me curious, like how would that affect my life if I was to do the same thing as you? Like I think that would make a huge difference um in that decision making process, when the time comes that I am ready to be with one person. Like that sounds like a really powerful way to figure that out. And I'm curious for you, is it that like so your intention behind this, is it and I don't know if you have any expectations. I've a feeling you probably don't, but like at the end of this year, would it be that the intention is to figure out if you want that long-term